Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And if this is your first time here, I surely appreciate your support, appreciate you stopping in. Today guys, we are out on a property here in Missouri, client property. Been a long couple of weeks, been on the road and we're not done yet. We hit, I think we have 6 more clients yet this month. And so things are going great, it's been busy. We are on this project here. This is the second build of the month. And got a lot of the tree work done. I'll show you here kind of what we're up to. Got a lot of the hinge cutting and invasive removal done here. And what we're gonna do is we are going in now. You can see all my tools that I've got here now, the hatchet and tool belt and everything for hack and squirt. So what we're doing is, right, we're gonna go in and we're gonna make these bedding areas better, these habitat pockets, doe bedding areas. We hack and squirt the entire transition, the entire grid, 20 feet, so 40 feet on each side of the entire grid to let that sunlight in. And we just completed that, and now we're going in and making these bedding areas even better. So a lot of folks see, oh, I've had comments before and some questions from clients, which is all fine, that say, hey, you're not putting enough hinges in these bedding areas because all these hinges are going to die, right? Well, that would be true if we didn't follow up with the next step. So I think a lot of folks are, always looking for that first initial "that's not going to work" comment, but sometimes they don't realize the next step that has to get done. On the other hand, I've also done this with clients and told them, hey, you need to go in, the next step is to go in and hack and squirt some of the junk. We're leaving our good producing white oaks in here, not a lot of them. We're just producing, leaving some good whites, a couple of really good reds. We're taking all of the hickory and, the ironwood. This has got some box elder, and even the junk white oaks that are split, the tops are broken out of them, stuff like that. So I've, like I said, I've referenced and told the clients that they need to do that, and they haven't done it. And yes, the hinges die. So is it a just go in and make it so impenetrable with hinges? One, you're going to find out that you're going to make yourself a bunch of work because you got to spend hours upon hours in there making it passable. With a saw, if you got time to do that, maybe that's okay, right? But I like to do is dress it up with the hinges that I have, leave some future hinges, right? And then I use the hack and squirt method to remove some more of the canopy. So I've often been asked that, what is the best bedding area, or how do we build the best bedding area? And guys, I truly believe that's the answer. I've been to bedding areas. I've seen just about every kind that you can imagine, every strategy. Sadly, I get to a lot of them that folks have paid thousands and thousands of dollars to have created, and they're not using it because it's a tornado. It's too much, right? So like we did right here, anything that created a V, right? We just took the chainsaw in and lopped a hole in it, so it wasn't a trap. So to answer that question directly, what is the best bedding area? I really feel that the best bedding area has a little bit of hinges, so you got a little structure on the ground. So I'm not an anti-hinge guy, but I'm not an over-hinge guy, right? A little bit of hinging, a little bit of big canopy removal. So in order, let's start there. Big canopy removal in these areas, making sure you got a hole, right? They just did logging, and they poked out some of the good stuff. I would have probably cut it a little bit harder in this area, and the landowner and I have talked about that, but the logger played it safe, which is better than going overboard. And then we come in and we do the hinges, because guys, like I've told you before, is if you come in and just do, flip YouTube on and somebody says, hey, build your bedding areas with hinge cuts, well, that's, like I said, that's a lot of them I see every year is they did the hinge cuts, but there was no canopy release. Then you find out that the hinges are dead, right? So then you got to cut the the canopy down, well, you're going to crush your hinges. So you're going to kill them one way or the other, right? So the process is big canopy first, do some hinges. So maybe remove some invasives, do some hinges of that 4, 5, 6, 8 inch, possibly 10 inch, depending on the species that you got, and build these bedding areas like we've got here. And then go in and polish it off with hack and squirt some of the bigger stuff that you didn't want to put down or was leaning the wrong way, so you don't just dirty it up too much. Then you kind of look at it next year, right? The canopy's gone. Hey, there's a hole here, I can put a hinge in there, but you have something to work with, right? 5 years down the road, 6 years down the road, 8 years down the road, when some of these hinges die, then you've got something to replace them with. So just wanted to bring this one to you today, guys. There are, like I said, there are a million different ways to do these. Some folks, you know, are anti hinge cuts. They don't do any hinge cuts, and you can build them all with a hatchet and the hack and squirt method. A lot of folks do that. So these two tools right here can create your bedding area. This is actually I think it's a 1.5 pound. So a hatchet, and you know, you can build them and not even start the chainsaw. What I do, guys, I'm going to show you while we're on this. We're going to find one right here. So there's 2 of these oaks. So here's an example. Let's go through this with each other. So a lot of folks, like I said, right, don't do any oaks, don't do, you know, you can't cut your oaks, you can't do any of your oaks. So here's the problem: if you don't remove that canopy, you're not going to let the daylight in, and all of this cool hinge cutting stuff that you hear, right, is all for none. So here's a perfect example, guys. I'm going to show you this right here. I'm going to flip you around. So let's take a look at this right here. So right in front of us, guys, right here, we have a black oak, a black oak. Right there, we have a red oak, right? Both pretty good trees. Problem is, they're 12 foot apart, right? That's a dead red oak, which is great. It's probably died of natural causes, but there's a big producing white oak. There's a big producing white oak. There's a big producing white oak. So I see good producing white oaks, right? Got a little too much canopy, so we took some hinges. We hack and squirted a couple of these, you know, reds there. I want to leave that red oak. To me, that black oak is the less value. And then I've got, what, 4 or 5 red oak right there in a 5 foot cluster. So all those red oak, right, are going to go because there's too many of them. We're going to leave that good red oak. So as soon as the canopy gets correct, all them limbs are going to go horizontal, not vertical, right? We're going to take this black oak out. So then you look around, there's a white oak right down there. You can see that the bark is, see if I can zoom in on it. There's a white oak and a hickory right next to each other, that the bark is all something that hit it, you know, in the past, probably during logging or something, and that thing is twisted and curvy and knotty. Those two can get hack and squirt. But here's how we're going to do this, guys. So process is, right, big canopy first, then a little bit of hinging, then come in, hack and squirt with your hatchet, and we're using Pathway or mixing the Craig Harper cocktail, right? But guys, this tool right here that I'm going to show you, so an Irwin 1/2 inch bit, the screw type bit, you can use a spade bit too, but these are handy. So I only got one hand here, one on the camera, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. This black oak, guys, is going to go, right? We elected to take this black oak out. So the cambium layer, the xylem and phloem, right, are in just the first inch. The core of this tree is completely dead. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these on the bigger ones, because I don't know if you've ever ran a hatchet during hack and squirt for hours upon hours. Your arms will be noodles. So these big ones, shagbark hickory is one. You'll be lucky if you get the hatchet in it at all. So we're going to remove this black oak. So we're going to drill in about that far, about an inch, right? We're going to clean it out, and you got that nice hole. Then what we're going to do, like I said, sorry for bouncing you around here, guys, but one-handed. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put about a milliliter, half to a milliliter of fluid in there, a Pathway in there, or the Craig Harper cocktail, and that tree is now done. This drill, guys, will save you a boatload of work on these big trees as far as your arm and not wearing you out. Yes, you got to carry it, but it's not, it's not going to, hurt your arms. Or by the end of the day, your arms will feel like noodles. So take a couple batteries with you. And I've done these videos before, but I thought I just wanted to take a minute today, guys, and talk to you about this. So yesterday, for example, my client and I, one on each side of the transition, one each side of the grid. We walked the entire grid and 20 foot each side hacking squirting, and then the other gentleman was behind us, which my son and stuff helps me with when he's with me on other jobs. But then there's one guy with a drill going in and doing the bigger stuff. So I hope that tip helps, guys. This time of the year, there's a lot of habitat work being done in the woods, and we are doing so ourselves. We got a whole laundry list of stuff we got to do on our own farm right when we get home and off the road. But 30 some days client trips, jump right into April, and I think I'm at the farm a couple of days, and May's no different, right? So a lot of habitat work going on. But just remember, guys, like I said, it's easy to flip on a YouTube channel or somebody tells you, hey, just hack and squirt. I've actually had consultants call me and say, hey, you don't recommend hack and squirt because it doesn't work, and you should do all hinge cutting. It's not the truth, right? There's so many different, maybe it is only hinge cutting because maybe the canopy isn't big and maybe you don't need it, but to just say that it's one hat fits all, it's so far from the truth. So like I said, it gets a lot of folks in trouble. So as a recap here, right, building these bedding areas, the first thing we want to look at canopy removal, big canopy first. If you're not proficient with a saw or feel comfortable with a saw getting those big trees down, hack and squirt. Like I said, you can build your whole bedding areas with these. Would I totally annihilate everything? Absolutely not. Obviously, you want to keep your keep trees and stuff, but you can do all your bedding work with these and never start a saw. So look at those big trees. Like I said, right, the logger didn't go as hard as we wanted him to go, such as this right here. This big white oak is in the bedding area, right? There's probably, this is a half-acre bedding area, following up a half-acre food plot. And the sad part of it is, there's about 6 of these white oaks in here. So I'm eliminating, and a bunch of red oaks. So we're taking the red and the black out, leaving a couple good red, and putting more focus on those good white oaks, right? So yes, removing the canopy. Like I said, if you don't feel comfortable cutting them down, grab your hatchet or the drill and the squirt jug and go to hacking and squirting them. You want one hack or squirt or drill mark for every 4 inches. So example would be not every 4 inches around a tree. Best example is a 16-inch tree. You put 4 hacks or 4 squirts in that tree. You get to a next one that's a 10-inch tree, maybe you just do 1 on each side. You get a 12-inch tree, do 3 of them, right? So and you have to get it in that cambium layer. So when can you do this? That's another question, right? I'm doing this in March. A lot of people say don't do this. About a month from now, if you've got a bunch of maples, I wouldn't do it, because as soon as you scar a tree, right, the tree tries to heal itself. Well, it's pumping all your fluid out. So one thing that I don't do, guys, that I see a lot of guys doing, I understand it, I get it, I haven't had any luck with doing this. So what I see a lot of folks doing is girdling and squirting, right? So what you do is you take a saw and you girdle or you double girdle a tree. Well, that girdle is level, if you will, right, all the way around the tree, and you squirt the liquid in there, it's going to just pump it out. I see a lot of that. You have to put a lot of herbicide around that tree to get that in that situation to kill that tree. So I try not to do that. If I'm going to double girdle a tree, I'm just going to double girdle it. I'm not going to spray it, just because this stuff is not cheap. It's Pathway's like $200, right? 2.5 gallon jug. Craig Harper cocktail, I mean, you can have $300-400 into that in a heck of a hurry. So remove that big canopy, start looking at your hinges, right? 6, 7, 8-inch stuff, hinge it. Don't make a tornado. You can see what I've got behind it, guys. I had some dead stuff on the ground. I've got a big old dead red oak in there. I hinged that hickory over there. We got some hinges here. We got more hinges down through here just because what happened, right? How it laid. And I had stuff to work with. Did I take everything that it is 4 to 6 inches in hinge? Absolutely not, because like I said, you know, you want your 4, 5, 6-inch stuff, some of that left, because when these hinges do die, even with good sunlight that we're going to have in here, you need to replace them. And if you don't, you're going to be looking for something to put for a hinge. So by then, your vegetation in here should be thicker and thick, and maybe the hinge isn't as important at that point, right? But it's still structure. So then to finish it off, right, the next thing we look at, we get these areas prepped. The next thing we look at is a burn. So if you have time and you can time it right, then you get before you touch anything in these pockets, you back a prescribed fire through it, you prep them, then you lay the hinges down, then you do this, and then you've got a full growing year, and you don't stand a chance of maybe, you know, burning the top of your hinges. In this situation, we didn't have that. The guy that's going to do the upland burn here, or the woodland burn, I'm sorry, and he's doing a bunch of upland burn for a new switch, couldn't get here, so I'm here ahead of him. So we're doing that, and the hinge itself, guys, like these here are all kill cut, you can see, but the scar itself the hinge itself is not going to burn or get overheated because it's elevated off the ground. The top of the tree is what's going to probably take the scar, right? But the life of the tree is coming from the hinge, right? It's coming from the hinge. It's not coming from the top of the tree. So yeah, maybe you'll set some of that back, but you're not usually going to kill them. You'd have to have a super hot fire with 4-foot flames, right, and hot there a long time to kill those hinges. So that's not going to happen. So we're going to get back to work here, guys, and finish this out. We have done the entire grid, meaning the transition, all the corridors. I've got all the buck bedding done, and now we're jumping on to the bedding areas and the habitat pockets. All the tree work was done before, and now we're just going in and removing a bunch of that, and you know, that unwanted, and some other bigger stuff that we just didn't want to be dirty on the floor. I've got 2 black oaks I got to do right there yet in this unit, and we're on to the next one. So I hope this helps, guys. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. At this time of the year, it might take me, you know, a couple days, a week to get back with you, but I try to help answer any questions that I possibly can. So sure appreciate it, guys. We got some cool stuff coming here over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. We'll see you on the next one.